class. Today I'm going to make a video to help you better understand how to approach algebraic equations that contain variables on both sides of the equations. Both sides of the equation, I should say. So, if you look at this equation we have in front of us, 2x minus 2 equals negative 3x plus 3. So, while at first this might look like a fairly basic algebraic equation, in fact, it's somewhat complicated because we have a variable on the left and we have a variable on the right. So we're going to need to somehow deal with that situation in order to solve for x. So I'm just going to scroll down to create some room. So in this situation, you always want to collect all of the variables on one side of the equation. You can choose to collect them on the left or you can choose to collect them on the right. It doesn't really matter so long as you just always follow the proper math rules that you take into consideration when working with algebraic equations. So, for example, if I do something to the left side of the equation, I need to make sure that I also do it to the right side of the equation. In this particular instance, I'm going to move all of my variables to the left side. So using a different color, using blue, I'm going to show how I'm going to add 3x to the right side, and I'm also going to add 3x to the left side of the equation. And I'm going to draw my little equation bar, or equals bar. When I do this, the minus 3x on the right side of the equation, right over here, this cancels out, and I am left with, on the right side, just a 3. And then on the left, I need to add together 2x and 3x, and that gives me 5x, and then I just pull down my minus 2. So now my equation reads 5x minus 2 equals 3. From here, this is a more basic equation that I think you are fairly comfortable solving by now. So to both sides we will add 2. That is the next step. Adding 2 to both sides, and then that gives me, as the first 2 cancels out, 5x equals 5. And then from here, now I just need to deal with the coefficient in front of my variable, my x. So I always ask myself, what operation do I see over here? We all know that this represents multiplication, so the opposite operation of multiplication is division, so I will divide both sides of the equation by 5. When I divide by 5, the 5's over here cancel out, and I am left with x equals 5 divided by 5, which we know to be, well, let me just get my pen back, 1. So this is a classic example of how to solve an equation that contains variables on both sides of the equation. The key is that you need to either add or subtract the variables to bring them all to the same side of the equation. So I'm just going to shrink down and kind of quickly recap what I did. So we started with the equation 2x minus 2 equals negative 3x plus 3. In this particular instance, I decided that I wanted to get the variable on the right side of the equation and move it over to the left side of the equation. And the way that I was able to do that was by adding 3 to both sides of the equation. From there, I had 5x minus 2 equals 3. And I just followed the sort of standard steps that we tend to follow. I added 2 to both sides to get 5x equals 5, and from there I divided both sides by 5 to get x equals 1. Now if I wanted, I could take that very same equation and I could move all of the variables to the right side of the equation instead. I'm going to very quickly show you how that would work. So 2x minus 2 equals negative 3x plus 3. So we are now just looking at the same equation that we had before. 2x minus 2 equals 3x, negative 3x plus 3. However, this time I'm going to deliberately make an effort to bring all of the variables to the right side of the equation, just to show you that if I wanted to, I could do it this way. So I'm actually going to just erase this arrow because it's sort of in the way. So if I want to bring my variable from the left to the right, in this instance, because I have a positive 2x, I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides this time. So this will become minus 2x, and then minus 2x. Now I have negative 2, and those cancel out, so I'm left with negative 2 equals, now negative 3 minus 2x. I need to figure out how to combine those terms. Negative 3 minus 2x, I can rewrite that as negative 5x plus 3. And then from this point, I would subtract 3 from both sides of the equation. Minus 3 over here, minus 3 over here, and that will leave me with negative 5 equals negative 5x. So again, I just want you to notice that in this instance, I worked with the same equation, but now my variable's on the right. But ultimately, I will get the same answer, because now, in order to isolate my variable and get my variable all by itself, I must divide both sides of the equation by negative 5. So on the right, the 5's cancel out, and I am left with x equals 5 divided by negative 5 divided by negative 5, which equals 1. So I can write x equals 1. And just to remind you, if we scroll up, we can see that the first time we solved it, we got 1. So both strategies work. There's no right or wrong. It's really just a matter of what makes sense in the moment and what is your preference. So if you have any questions about this, write to me in your math journal or come to class tomorrow prepared with specific questions.